What's up, guys? Welcome back to the doctor's office. I am Dr. K. Roy Knight, here to give you proper diagnosis and prognosis and everything comics and comic book characters. We are on issue 2 for String. Now, at the end of issue 1, we had Yoon, who sees strings between people, blue or black. Blue means that they have slept together. The brighter the blue is, the more recent it is. And then the black string is between a murder and the person committing the murder. So the victim and their killer. And she had a black string surrounding her at the end of that first issue. Now, I just have to say that these two together, her and Luke, are absolutely hilarious on page. So she actually basically breaks into his apartment while he is sleeping. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, almost 6, and she's like waking him up, and he's just like, bro, what the fuck? And she was like, well, I called and you didn't answer. He's like, maybe because it's like 5 a.m. And she's like, well, I bit your lock fairly easily, actually, and I came in here because I actually need your help. I have been surrounded by black string, which means either I'm going to kill someone or someone is going to kill me. And so they're sitting there having that conversation about that, and he decides that he's going to go take a piss and get some coffee. So she makes him some coffee when he comes downstairs after he gets dressed and everything, and he's like, all right, so what are you thinking? So essentially they decide to brainstorm the possibilities. And so she's thinking, because she doesn't think that she's going to kill anybody, she's thinking somebody's going to kill her, and that it's based on the cases that she is currently working. And he's like, well, the only case that you're working is the case that we had yesterday when that guy literally blew himself up, so that can't be it. And she was like, oh, do you think the police department is the only one that pays for my talent? Please be serious. So one of them is he's a leader of a gang, and his little brother or his nephew has been killed, and they were at a funeral. They hired Yoon to figure out who it was that killed them, or that killed the little boy. So she said, if I can, he's thinking that it's a rival gang. If I can prove that it's not, I can stop a gang war from happening. And she was like, however, I could also start a gang war because, what if it was? So we have that. And he's like, that's a situation that I think you need to keep me up to date on. And she was like, oh, absolutely not. I signed an NDA. And he's like, I'm pretty sure an NDA from a gang is not legally binding. And she said, okay, go tell the gang. Go tell them. Go tell them that NDA that I signed is not legally binding, and see what they do to you and me. Come on. As they're doing this brainstorming, they also start talking about her powers and the fact that he really thinks that what she's talking about is basically saying that everything is preordained. And she was like, that's basically how the world works. Things are preordained. Like your future is definitely based on your present. And he's like, elaborate. And so she basically gives the example that that if you step off a cliff in the present, in the future you're gonna like fall and break your face or die, but you do it anyway. Or you prevent yourself from doing it. If you're going to do it on purpose, you do it anyway, but you can prevent yourself from doing it because you know that if you do this one particular thing here in the present, the future is going to be this thing. And she's like, that's basically how the strings work. And he's like, that makes sense, but it's still a bit unsettling. And she was like, and I completely and totally understand where you're coming from because they have unnerved me for like the entire time that I've known of their existence. So, please, you're preaching to the choir here. So then they start talking about other cases that she's on, and she's actually taking a case from a porn star. And basically the porn star is asking her to try to solve the murder of her dog, and she doesn't really know if she's able to do that because I don't think she can see the strings from the dog, but she may be able to figure out in some way, shape, or form like who did it based on who is around her and who kind of like has a grudge against her. And he's like, so is anybody in her life like hating? She's like, it could be her manager, because her manager actually does not like that I hang around her all the time. And he's like, that could make sense. One of the funny things about this whole situation is like, he's like, so how do you know that I'm not going to be the one to kill you? Like, how do you know that, you didn't come to the exact wrong place? She's like, oh, I, checked the string, and the string doesn't lead to you. I checked before I woke you up, just by the way. Now, even though they just had coffee, they do go to this place to get this coffee, and they're still having this conversation about what's going on, when this lady in this car, not Corvette, but this red convertible almost runs her over. And this is like as she's talking about, somebody trying to kill her. And so she's like, that lady just tried to fucking kill me. So she takes this person's scooter and chases after them. And he's just like, you're having a conversation. You came to get me about somebody trying to kill you. Somebody tries to kill you and your idea is to go after them. Are you okay? And that is like a really great question. So she's chasing after, and the girl driving this car is just like, fuck you, you're a bitch, blah, blah, blah. And when she finally crashes and Yoon is able to pull her out of the car, she's like, you slept with my husband. And Yoon's like, what? The confusion on her face. She's like, first of all, I ain't never done no dumb shit like that. And second of all, what are you talking about? I don't even know who you are or who you're talking about. And I would never sleep with like a married man. Like, are you okay? What the fuck? So when Luke catches up to her and is just like, what the hell is going on? And she's like trying to explain it. The lady goes off on her. I mean, not on him. The lady goes off on Luke, telling someone, oh, actually, it was you who slept with my husband. Girl, is it crack? It's gotta be all kinds of drugs. Because what are you talking about? Now, before all of that happens, they are having a conversation about the time she did go to a retirement party with police department. And Luke was also at the party, and he said that he didn't see her. She said that she was only there for about 30 minutes. But there was a man who was there. She doesn't know if he was a police officer or not, but there was a man who was there that was over by the cake, and he had 6 black strings, which was 6 murders. And so he's assuming that it was a police officer, and he's like, did he see you? Did he know who you were? Does he know what your powers are? Da, 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 da. And she's like, I don't know, and I don't know. And she was like, I've been searching for him, but maybe he's been searching for me too. You know what I'm saying? So they get close enough to Yoon's apartment where he can actually go take a fucking shower, because he never took a shower that morning. He took a piss and got dressed and then grabbed coffee and they left. So she brings him up there. He's like, oh, your cat hates me. And she's like, oh, it's fine. And he's about to go take a shower. And as he's opening the door to the hallway into which he would go to take a shower, there is a masked person there with a gun. And he was there, presumably, to kill her. So she wasn't wrong. Somebody was trying to. I think the dynamic between the two of them is probably my favorite thing about this book so far. It's just how raw they are with each other. And they've quite literally only been together for one day. And it's the fact that she was able to find his apartment, get in there, and he's just like accepting this as his fate, getting up before fucking 6 a.m. to help her because she's having an issue. And it's not like he can ignore it because he is privy to how her powers work and the fact that she's either going to be a murderer or be murdered. So, and the thing that was happening with the police officer where he was willing to try to see if that was a police officer that was at that retirement party and who he killed, like it would be murders. And like she had said in the beginning of in the first book, when it comes to her powers, and why the police don't actually particularly like her, it's because they have murdered people, and there's a difference in the strings on whether you have murdered someone or you haven't. If a black string appears around you and the kill that you've done has been justified, then of course there's no string. If you have murdered someone, that's what she sees, and some people were just not happy with that. And it's the fact that she saw them and probably didn't say anything, or she said something to them, kind of just like a side comment, private type thing, and they just didn't like the idea that she can tell the difference. A cab, right? So I'm very interested to see, first of all, who is this person that's trying to kill her, and what is the reason? Because she seems very, very sweet, very nice, and like she kind of just wants to do what she is paid to do. And I honestly could not, out of all the people that she said, I can't really think, unless that police officer, if that guy was a police officer, unless he just was like, she knows, I got it, like, because at this point, man, it's a serial killer. So like I don't know, and that's why he was asking all those questions, but she has no idea. So maybe, like she said, I'm looking for him and he's probably been looking for me too, so maybe he's found her. We shall see. The writing for this is really good. It's another one that has not fallen to the lazy writing, and I do again love the dynamic between Yoon and Luke. I think that it's really fun between the two of them, so hopefully they continue that and the story continues to just be like super amazing. But that is it for this episode of The Doctor's Office. If you have not gotten my book, please do, and I will see you guys at your next checkup.